There we go. All right. It's time to take off the fake glasses and get serious. So, obviously, making videos is not my full-time job. I'm doing plenty of other things. Had several meetings today already. And so I'm going to give you ideas of how you can make money at home. And I have promised to give you exactly 1 million of those ideas. I have a feeling I may run just a few short of 1 million, but I just started brainstorming on this and the ideas were flowing. So I thought, I don't know how many I'm going to have at the end of the day, but 1 million's getting pretty close. This is going to be a brainstorm. Let me just go through some of this stuff. Okay, so today I'm presenting ideas. These are tangible and practical ways to make money at home. So nobody wants to believe this, but this is actually the easiest part of the whole process. The what to do is much easier than the how to do. But the how to do gets labeled as fluff and rah-rah. So people get stuck here in the what to do because fear and panic has already set in. So, but here's the thing. It's like people just feel like they can't come up with ideas on what they can do to make money. But this doesn't mean that you're incapable of coming up with good ideas. You absolutely are if you're in this crowd of people that think they can't come up with good ideas. But the fundamental reason why I have trouble in my life, sometimes whenever I've tried to come up with ideas like this, is usually just because when fear sets in, I get filled with emotion and the creativity evaporates and I become less resourceful. And so the emotion, just like on the webinar here or whatever, I get a little nervous or whatever. So it's difficult for me to think. I can think a lot easier when the camera's not going and I don't feel like people are watching for whatever reason. But it doesn't mean that you're incapable of coming up with good ideas. And so when I recognize this and I get outside of the fear, I get outside of the panic and the anxiety, then I can turn my brain on and start thinking of ideas. So after realizing that, maybe the way to get into a kind of state where I can come up with some good ideas, maybe by praying, meditating, reading the Bible, watching motivational videos, going outdoors, taking a nap, some kind of way to reset so that the emotions just aren't taking over, because they will just rob you of all creativity, all resourcefulness. So the best thing to do, if I know that it's really difficult, is just to get in a playful mentality and realize that there are areas that you can be optimistic about. And when you focus on those, then all of a sudden the brainstorming can become possible and ideas can begin to flourish. In the midst of panic, I know that I typically just think of the most brutal, barbaric means of survival. It's like just what's left. Okay, now I've got to go steal something, or go do something horrible. There are no options. What can I do? Well, it's just a lack of resourcefulness usually that causes me to get in a state like that. Not that I get in a state of stealing and thievery and murder, but you just fear. It's just fear takes over. It's a fight or flight thing. It's a natural thing, and for me, in order to come up with good quality ideas, I got to get in a different frame of mind altogether. All right, so now here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to begin a brainstorming session that I've already kind of started. But before we begin, the thing that we've got to do is I need to get some feedback from you if you are willing to participate a little bit. So far, we've got 11 people watching, so not a whole lot of people there. So if you don't mind, give me some feedback on this. Somebody define brainstorming for me. What is brainstorming? Give me some characteristics of brainstorming and what it means to brainstorm. And if you don't mind, I'll give it just a second till I see a comment show up. There may be a slight delay. How do you brainstorm? Just give me a little feedback. I could come up with the idea, but nobody's going to type. That's all right. Got 10 people on and one just checked out. All right, so here's the deal. Brainstorming is this. Obviously, it's coming up with ideas, even bad ones. You might have 999,000 bad ideas to come up with one good one, but the only way to find the good one is just to let the ideas flow. With no thought police, some ideas could be absolutely rotten, some impractical, some of them even immoral or illegal. And right now it's really easy to come up with an illegal idea. I guess new law is being written when we're being told to shelter in place and not leave our house if something involves you leaving your your home, then I guess it's illegal right now. I'm not sure. So the only way to be able to do this is to let the ideas fly. So I'm going to have a bunch of ideas, and I'll say it for you. The ideas, let's just say that they're all horrible. Maybe there's one good one in here, and I'm okay with that. But the idea is to brainstorm. So the first step is to realize that business only exists to solve problems. So where do we focus? Let problems be the signpost. Where are the social winds taking us? Where is their current already flowing? Where do the needs exist? Now we just need to kind of, if you just imagine which way are the winds blowing, just put up your sail, figure out where the winds are blowing, get in the way. Another way to say this is, where is the demand? In a time like this, it takes a different perspective to see opportunities because so few people are looking for them. However, there are a lot of opportunities that are yet to be taken. Now, watch. This is the kind of situation where somebody else has a great idea, and you're like, "Daggum, why didn't I think of that?" Well, now is the moment where if you take time to think about it and try to see the opportunities, you can see them. It's just that most people are not taking the time to see the opportunities. So here's how you start. You find the problems. You ask yourself if there is an opportunity to serve, and you leave the money-making part out of it. You just think, is there an opportunity to serve? Is there a need there? And once we get in brainstorming mode, then after we get the ideas on the table, then I think critically about the ideas and begin whittling them down and starting to categorize them on what the revenue. I mean, there's all sorts of ways that you have to whittle them down. Revenue generating possibilities, or how many other factors are involved. Maybe there's the legality of it, obviously, the practicality of the idea, what the initial investment might be, the time that it takes to get to the first paycheck. All those are factors that have to be taken into consideration. But it's difficult to think critically and come up with the idea simultaneously. So right now we're going to focus on the brainstorming side. All right. And it's also, I just have to mention this, it is not a sin to look for opportunity in a moment of despair. And I would say it's quite the contrary. And the only reason why business exists is to solve problems. So imagine how many opportunities there are right now, considering the unique environment. And imagine, you could imagine it, just think about opportunities in general, not necessarily money-making opportunities. Again, we're going to leave the money-making side on the side. Some of these ideas are going to be horrible for money-making, for revenue generating. Think about this. What opportunities are there to share the gospel, to share your faith, to share goodwill, to share love and kindness? You look for the opportunities. That's all we're doing. We're looking to solve problems, looking to serve. How can we serve? Where are there opportunities to serve? And that's the focus, okay? Let's see. So, also, the ideas don't have to be original. In large part, you can come up with an idea by gearing up your R&D department. So, and I'm not talking about research and development. In this case, talking about rip off and duplicate. That's totally acceptable. So here we go. First question I would say is, what is your full-time job? Or what do you normally do when you're not hunkered down in your house? Is there a way for you to do that here and now, giving the new constraints? And so I talked to somebody, their spouse was a hairdresser. Salon got shut down. That's okay. Can you cut hair individually on an individual basis? So that kind of thought process. Now I would say this. Whatever your full-time job was, if you can't do it now your full-time job becomes looking for these opportunities, looking for ways to create income. So the obvious answer would be to look to the companies that are starving for help. They're in high demand. So this would be like Amazon and Kroger and Costco, any kind of retailer like that, anything that has a delivery service. And let's see here. If another place to look are areas where people are already doing business online virtually. And so you can look at different places where they're advertising this stuff. Let me go here real quick. I'm going to share my screen. Right here. We've got a couple different websites here. The first one I'm going to mention is a website called Upwork. You can just look to see on Upwork what kind of jobs are being hired out. Here's US only. You can look for jobs in, let's see, worldwide. You just change, here it is. I've got this selected, but you can look for jobs. They're being posted for anybody to fulfill anywhere they're at all across the world. And so some of these jobs you might want to apply. That's perfectly fine. There are plenty of opportunities here. Same thing for Fiverr. Fiverr is another place where people go and solicit for online work. So you can just hover over these different areas, and there are tons of different subjects. Now, this is the obvious answer, just to go here and look for jobs, okay? The same thing, you've got Indeed. I was mentioning you've got Amazon, Kroger, Target, those kind of companies are on here. Here's Sprouts looking for somebody. You've got, let's see, Sprouts, you got Comerica Bank, TD Ameritrade, also TD Ameritrade. If you can imagine, I'm sure that the stock portfolios of these different companies, the securities, it's changed drastically. But there's also going to be an opportunity for people to buy soon because the securities are low. So people are looking to buy low so that they can sell high later on. There are all sorts of ideas here. So here's obviously the one way is just to look and see what kind of jobs exist. But here's the other thing, that the perspective shift that I think would be important to find opportunities that you may not find other places, is to consider how these jobs could be done locally where you're at. Is there a way to take some of this stuff and do them locally for your local environment? Right now, we have a completely new situation where everybody's in their home. That completes a completely new dynamic of demand and customer base for people that have all new needs, people that have needs that need to be served. So you think, can I take some of this stuff and focus on it locally and create a niche locally and dominate a very small niche market? There could be some ways to do that. So scouring through this and digging into these areas, it's going to take a whole bunch of graphic design ads to find one that might be something that could apply where it would be like a diamond in the rough type of situation. So then you've got Indeed. Obviously, I went through there a little bit. Let me get back to some more ideas. Let's see. There we go. All right. So those are some of the obvious areas. Let's keep going here. All right. So then the other thing is to just look at the new innovation that's happening right before our eyes. I heard about these ladies in Italy that are sticking their head out the window when they're singing. And then I heard that the people in Dallas are doing the same thing. Well, these are new things that are happening because there are new needs. We have a socialization component of our soul that needs to be fed, and cheer that needs to be brought. So these are what people are doing. So if you just take it one step further, there might be a need for possibly a singing telegram, whether that's legal or not. Different subject. We're going to think critically about this later on. Scavenger hunts are things that people can do without interacting with people personally. Is there a way to organize a scavenger hunt on a professional level? I don't know. We'll think critically about it later on. Organizing parades. I saw the school teachers out here doing a parade. It was one of the coolest things I'd seen. All of a sudden, all the neighbors are out on their front lawns, and I'm like, man, we're being social in the midst of our solitude. Sure, I can't walk over there and say hi and shake hands with them, but when all the neighbors are out in the front lawn and we got people driving by, man, it definitely gives you something that you don't get by just being online. And so here's the question: is there a way to organize something like that professionally? Is there a way? Is there a need for that? Is there some other way where a business that has some money to invest would be willing to let you organize something for them? I don't know. Assist seniors in grocery buying. People are doing this for free all over the place. Is there a need for you to? Is there a way that you can step this up a level and help people on another level where you might guarantee certain safety precautions, where you might be able to do take it to the next level, a way to innovate and just piggyback on that a little bit. Let me pause right there and go right down to this list of essential businesses that I've just read about. So there are essential businesses, and you just think, who is, if you're not laid off and out of work, or if your schedule hasn't been cut to zero, there's a good chance that you're a business that's in high demand and you're starving for extra help, because that's where all the attention and focus has gone, like these grocery stores. And so if you just go to the essential businesses list here, and you just roll down, I can put a link on it to the essential business list in the comments, but you just roll through this and imagine what businesses are there that might be looking for extra help. So you got grocery stores, stores that sell essential household goods, convenience stores, liquor stores, pharmacies, drugstores, daycare facilities, medical facilities, nonprofit providers, homeless emergency shelters, office buildings, essential government buildings, airports, transportation systems, residential buildings and hotels, manufacturing, distribution facilities, landscaping, lawn and landscape business, construction and renovation business. These are some ideas that I had before I saw this essential business. I was just thinking, well, what businesses don't require interacting with people? Getting out in the backyard, building a fence. Virtually any kind of construction is something that can be done on a small scale. So there are opportunities there. All right, so you think about what are the needs that these companies have. Yes, they have needs for these employees, but now there are new needs that are created by the additional demand. They might need they might need help organizing the employees. They may not have as much staff to handle this surge increase of human resource need. And so what if you could find people that, what if you could help with that process, help screen employees, help qualify employees, and then come to them with 10 employees on a silver platter that say, hey, all these folks are have criminal history checks, their credit checked, whatever you have to do to screen folks to get a job, or whatever the qualifications are for a particular job. You could serve them up on a silver platter and say, hey, here are a bunch of folks ready to go. Then you've all of a sudden created a need for yourself. That's what I mean by when the wind's already blowing, the demand is already there, you figure out some way to hop in the process, get in the middle of that, put up your sail, and help those folks that are in need and in demand to be able to do their job a little bit better. All right, let me get back on a different wavelength. Let's see here. Okay, finding businesses that have already been successful virtually is a good one. So think about this. What was there that's no longer there now, and now there's a big gaping hole for that need, like the socialization aspect or the entertainment aspect. Just think about what type of entertainment people used to feed off of that's no longer there. Is there a way that you could fulfill an entertainment demand? Maybe turning the video camera on and making a little show, or making some other thing that is entertaining. And if you don't like being in front of a camera, but you know somebody that does, chances are, if you're not that person, you're married to that person, then you might be that type of person that's organized and maybe more technical, and somebody that can help edit video, maybe learn a new skill, and somebody that can help produce the video and market the video behind the scenes. And you just turn the video on for the person that just zany and they like being in front of a crowd, but they don't necessarily think in an organized way or linear way, but they're great at entertaining. Maybe this is an opportunity to team up with someone like that. There are tutoring jobs online. I've already mentioned a little bit gardening, building things in people's backyard, fences, all of the construction. I was just thinking, an idea is bringing trash cans up from the curb to someone's house. That might be a horrible idea because now everybody's home. However, think about sanitizing those trash cans. Everybody's concerned about germs. There's a demand for that somewhere. There are some people that don't want to touch that stuff. If you've got a hazmat suit at home, or you could, I'm kind of kidding on that, but you could get the yellow kitchen gloves and you're willing to brave that for somebody, then maybe there's an opportunity there. I've seen people doing chalk art on sidewalks. What if you're an artist and you can do that on another level? I know that whenever I walk outside and I see something beautiful, it warms my heart on some level. And so maybe there's a need for that. Maybe there's a business that would be willing to pay you to go and do something beautiful somewhere without having to contact somebody. In fact, I would say pretty much there are all sorts of things in the arts. I saw a guy yesterday that was painting on live, Facebook Live, and just like Bob Ross used to do. And I'm like, man, why have I only seen Bob Ross and that one guy do that? I don't know, but there are plenty of teachers out there that can just move whatever they were doing offline and move it online. All right, I got a lot more ideas. Remember, I said I have 1 million, so I've still got ways to go. Forget about making money. There's always donations. There's other things that you can do to generate money, and maybe not. Maybe you're just looking to serve, occupy your time. All right. I mentioned the trash cans. Think about all types of sanitizing services. This is in huge need right now. Think about the grocery stores. They got, I'm sure, well, any of those businesses that are in operation today, or even the businesses that have shut down, they would probably want to provide their employees and their customers some comfort to be able to tell them that everything has been sanitized before people get back into it. So you can just run down the list and think about cars, houses, offices, and then you could think about maybe not sanitizing in a typical way. Maybe there's some additional, types of sanitizing. I know I was in a board meeting where they were talking about I don't even know what kinds of sanitizing are out there. Hydrostatic sanitizing. Maybe there's some UV light sanitizing. If you know anything about that, or you know how to Google about that, maybe there's some way that you can provide a service to walk towards the fire when everybody's running away. Now, think about this. I don't know what the law says about going out at night, but nobody's out at night. Okay, so you can go out at night and be a lot of places and do a lot of things without being around people. Maybe there's some opportunity there, or maybe it's illegal now. I don't know. That's the critical thinking component that would come after the brainstorming session. I hear the ice cream truck running around like crazy. I don't know if the ice cream truck is essential, but maybe I know food is. So maybe there are some other services kind of like the ice cream truck. Is there anything else you can deliver? All right, any kind of industry that involves making calls. Sales calls, for one, is a huge benefit, a huge area that most companies that participate in sales calls, they would love people that are good at that. If you've got a skill on that, but you just haven't been utilizing it because you've had some other industry, man, put yourself to work. If you could go if you wanted to just carve out your own opportunity, you find a business that can stand to make some sales right now, you just hop on and start making some sales calls. You don't have to represent the company, but you could get a pool of buyers. Let's say, for instance, I've got a side of my brokerage company that's specializes in sponsoring real estate agents that without sponsoring, without having to pay for MLS dues, Board of Realtor dues, that sort of thing. And that's just pure recruiting. And if somebody called up a bunch of real estate agents that are broke and not closing any deals and just say, hey, how would you like to have an active license without having to pay Board of Realtor dues? And they just got a list of those things and say, okay, well, how about I go find that for you? And then they turn around to the companies that can provide that kind of service. And when they turn around to the company and say, hey, I got a list of agents that would be more than happy to sign on with a company that doesn't charge Board of Realtor dues and MLS dues. Would you be interested in me helping you recruit some folks like that? I've already got 100 sitting in my back pocket right now. You haven't promised either side that you're going to do anything. You just promised one side that you're going to go out and look for that opportunity for them. And then you go find somebody that has the opportunity, and you just ask if they would like it to be fulfilled. There's creative ways on how you can carve out a niche like that in a sales opportunity. I just gave you the idea that's actually in my lap that I'm just coming up with off the top of my head, but there are plenty of industries that have need for folks making sales calls. Customer service calls, if you go on that Indeed page, there are tons of customer service positions just waiting to be fulfilled right now. What about wellness checks? Maybe there's some kind of need for that. Think about what companies could utilize a little extra customer service in a time like this. Okay, writing articles. There's not just articles, there's resume writing. My gosh, maybe you could do it for free and then upgrade for a little bit of how-to, maybe some interview pointers or something. I don't know. Possibly writing articles for search engine optimization. I've already mentioned Fiverr and Upwork. I'm actually reading from some notes, and I got a duplicate on here. Just think, when you see a job that is being hired, tweak it. Think about, is there any way that you could offer this in a smaller local way? Or is there a need behind this need that you could address? For instance, I brought up the HR need. It's like, well, if they need to hire 50 people overnight, maybe they don't have the process dialed in to help that hiring system. Okay, think about this. I mentioned the arts. Well, let's go deeper. Making crafts. Can you sew something? I've seen people online making surgical masks. Maybe you could make surgical masks. Maybe they need to be a certain quality, or maybe they don't. I don't know. I saw something in a news article about people using bandanas. I'm sure you can make something better than a bandana for a mask. There could be a demand for that. Making food. I was thinking about this. Think about what kind of food people have in their pantries that they do not want to eat, but they go to the grocery store and all their favorite stuff is gone. So maybe you could try and identify what are those disgusting things or less appealing things in the back of the pantry that you don't have any recipe for. Is there any way you can make something out of those things that would actually be appetizing? There could be. I mentioned cutting hair already, cleaning cars. I'm running into repeat stuff here, but it's hard for me to brainstorm and have a camera going at the same time. So I kind of jump started this ahead of time. I'm running out though. Let's see. Post in the comments if you've got an idea. What idea have I said that might spark something that you've seen? Hey, have y'all seen that new song that Neil Diamond wrote? Okay, it's an old song, Sweet Caroline. It's kind of a fan favorite in our house since I have a daughter named Caroline. Well, he remade it recently with new words. Think about that from a entertainment standpoint. Is there something that you can remake and put online and get some eyeballs clicking? And maybe you have a talent in that area, and maybe you could then showcase some of your music or some kind of thing that you can do for a fee behind that. Ask people right now that are already working what they need. Don't try and reinvent the wheel. Just go ask what the needs are. Pay attention. Look on social media. See where the complaints are. See where the problems are. Anticipate. And then you don't have to wait for somebody to hire you. You can just find the need and fulfill it. Like I mentioned with the sales call. What if you go and just put yourself to work doing it for free? A lot of times as a business owner, I have to put, there's a little bit of risk involved. And usually that risk is not, it's not as much financially related as it is the risk of looking stupid and not knowing the right answers and sticking my neck out there to be bold and courageous to do something that somebody else isn't doing. If you're just looking to serve, imagine if you're just looking to serve and then someone finds you valuable and you let them know you can't do it for free forever, then they might be willing to hire you. Let's see here. Restaurants. Okay, so here's this is what I was talking about a second ago. I've articulated better in my notes. Okay, so ask people that are working right now what they need. So businesses will fork out cash because businesses have cash. They just have to be able to justify the expense. And so if you solve the problem at a systems level rather than a Band-Aid level, then there may be an opportunity there for you to carve out a job. So for instance, a restaurant may need more napkins. Don't just bring them napkins once. Make it your mission to find which stores have napkins and where the supply chain might exist for you to be able to find those napkins, and then organize a coalition of stay-at-home folks to systematically call each store looking for what's available or not available. And if calling them isn't an option, maybe people could go to the stores. Maybe that's a bad idea. Maybe it's not. I don't know. We'll think critically about it later on. And maybe there's a way that you can take that idea and tweak it into something that it might actually be useful. Offer counseling or companionship services, where you're not offering solutions, you're just a listening ear. Everybody wants to talk about their problems. Most people aren't really eager to listen. There's probably an opportunity for that. What issues are rich people grappling with right now? And rich, think about it two ways. There are people that have high income, but also high bills. They're going broke just as quick as anybody else is. Nobody's feeling sorry for them. I'm not trying to say you have to feel sorry for them, but they have unique needs. What about the person that just has a stockpile of cash or assets? Do they have needs that where the cash flow is not an issue, but maybe they have an asset pool that needs to go to work or just shrunk like crazy? What kind of issues are they having? What issues? Let's see. Mowing lawns. Let's see if I've got anything else. I don't. That is it. Was that 1 million? That's pretty close to 1 million, don't you think? Brady, what is up? My homie. Okay, so I have been looking at notes this whole time and not comments. I'm going to scroll down the comment section. I'm going to leave you a warm and fuzzy thought. Then I'm going to hop off this thing and I'll see you tomorrow. Before I do that, share different ideas. Anybody have throughout any relevant anybody have any kind of ideas on any other jobs? Ideas and ways of solving problems. That's right. Let's see. Love the perspective. That's right. Let's see. Think outside the box. Fast track the hiring process. Brady Pettit. I need ideas out of you, Brady. Live online workouts. IT help would be a huge help. Now, think about this. All the teachers that are going virtual and having to figure out how to do this virtual. Maybe you have a business, a church, or somebody that has been doing it in person and now they need to go virtual and they're having trouble figuring out how to do that. Maybe you could help them figure out how to do that. There's all sorts of opportunities. And with that, I've got a couple different thoughts. If you don't want to hear Bible verses, this is a good time for you to shut it off. But here is something. Do not worry about your life, what you will eat or drink, or about your body, what you'll wear. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothes? Look at the birds of the air. They do not sow or reap or store away in barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much more valuable than they? Can any one of you worry by worrying add a single hour to your life? And why do you worry about clothes? See how the flowers of the field grow? They do not labor or spin. Yet I tell you that not even Solomon in all his splendor was dressed like one of these. If that is how God clothes the grass of the field, which is here today and tomorrow is thrown into the fire, will he not much more clothe you, you of little faith? So do not worry, saying, what shall we eat? Or what shall we drink? What shall we wear? For the pagans run after all these things, and your heavenly Father knows that you need them. But seek first the kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. And isn't that true? Now, here's one other thing. Look, guys, truth is so complex. You can't just read that and think, well, don't worry about it. It's just going to take care of itself. In a certain sense, yes, you can, but in a certain sense, no, you can't. It's multidimensional. Okay, so here's another one. Let's see. That one was, I don't have the verse. Somebody can post it. Here's another one. Have y'all heard of the Bible verse that says, knock and the door will be open to you, seek and you will find? Well, most people haven't heard what comes before that. This verse is in 2 different books of the Bible, and in one of them, there's another part of this truth. I think that it stands alone, just like in Matthew, it stands alone. But in Luke, here's another part. It says this, which of you shall have a friend and go to him at midnight and say, friend, lend me 3 loaves for a friend of mine that has come to me on his journey, and I have nothing to set before him. And he will answer him okay, I understand it better. I can read. All right. So somebody goes to a house and he's knocking on the door. His friend is inside, and the guy knocking on the door says, friend, open the door. I need a loaf of bread. I need you to lend me 3 loaves of bread. And so the guy in the house, and he doesn't have anything to give him. And so, the guy in the house will answer, do not trouble me. The door is shut. My children are asleep in bed. I can't rise and give you anything. And the narrator says, I say to you, though he will not rise and give to him because he is his friend, yet because of his persistence, he will rise and give him as many as he needs. So he said, yet because of his persistence. And then it goes on to say, so I say to you, ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be open to you. For everyone who asks receives, and he who seeks finds, and to him who knocks it will be open. If a son asks for bread from any father among you, will he give him a stone? Or if he asks for fish, will he give him a serpent instead of a fish? Or if he asks for an egg, will he give him or offer him a scorpion? If you then, being evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your heavenly Father give you the Holy Spirit, those who ask him? So here's the thing. When you knock, the door will be open to you. But when you look at the verse right before that, it says something about, yet it's because of his persistence that he will rise and give him as many as he needs. Okay. And the word persistence, usually there's a footnote. And in the footnote, it says, sometimes it's translated as persistence. Sometimes it's translated as relentless audacity. So when you combine all of this and you combine the whole theme of this whole video, then this is what it says to me. You have to trust God. You have to trust that things are going to work out. Focus on today. Tomorrow's going to have enough worries. Today, are you okay? Are you alive? Do you still have a family? Are you okay? Is God taking care of you? And have faith that it's going to work out. And then the next step is you have to knock, you have to seek, you have to ask. And it's not just a magical process. There's something to be said for relentless audacity and persistence. So as you rest your heart in the truth of that we have a good God and things are going to be taken care of regardless of the circumstances, keep your feet moving. And make it your job to find some income and kick some butt and take some names and do what you can for your family. Here's the thing, guys. You can plant seeds, you can work the soil, you can fertilize, you can water, all those things is the farmer's job, but sometimes the seeds grow and sometimes they don't. You leave that part up to God, and that's what we're talking about here. And with that, I think that's enough for one video. Million ideas later, I'm out. Y'all have a great day. I will look at comments one last time. I got nothing else. Brady, I will see you later. Over and out.